Chad Kreuzer, thank you for joining us here on the channel, on the GAIN channel, with all the digital missionaries that are watching from around the world. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Chad, your wife, Fadia, as well, is involved in this ministry as well that we're going to talk about. But maybe you can just give us a little bit about yourself and your wife and, where you live.
Yeah, we live in the United States. We live kind of central north United States. It's the state of Michigan. It's known for being one of the colder regions of the United States. And we travel, or we have traveled full time for close to 20 years now. We have a ministry called Anchor Point Films where we produce documentary films. We go around to archaeologists, historians, theologians, scholars, and medical professionals. We make documentaries on either health, longevity. We also have things on archaeology, history, and the Bible. And we've done that, like I said, for that specifically for probably 13 years now, and 12, 13 years, but we had been traveling, speaking before that. So a total of 20 years that we've been on the road, either speaking or doing the video work. And we also, on top of that, we've started a YouTube channel called Health and Homestead, which is a mixture of homesteading, country living, raising your own food, and on top of that, also just health in general, looking at scientific studies on the benefits of things like a plant-based diet, healthy lifestyle, looking at depression, anxiety, mental health, and a number of things. So really health and homesteading, that basically sums it up.
Yeah, wow. What haven't you done? That would have been a shorter question. That's awesome. So you guys are still involved in Anchor Point Films. You're still producing things, or you still have projects on the boil?
Yes, yeah. So we're hopefully, we have one documentary that we've recorded that we have not edited, and we have another video. So we do a mixture of lecture series, and then we do also the documentaries. And we're hopefully within the next couple weeks beginning recording a new lecture series on kind of health and homesteading, kind of things that basically some foods to grow that are beneficial to sustain people, these kind of things.
Awesome. Okay, so on this one, I wanted to talk more specifically about the Health and Homestead YouTube channel. Now, how long has that project been in process?
Well, we started it probably just over 3 months ago, but the last 3 months, I mean, we maybe put up a couple videos before that, but then we consistently have been putting out videos on a regular basis for 3 months at this point. So the end of the year will be about 4 months.
Okay, so do you try and get one out every week or a couple out a week? Do you have a schedule?
Well, we started off with 5 a week, and we consistently did that for a number of weeks. We've had a few weeks where we've only gotten 2 out or 3 out. And in general, as long as I'm not traveling for a while, I would like to get to just help the channel springboard as much as possible, do 5 a week. But at some point, I would like to back it off to 2 to 3 a week. But as much as possible for a while, 5 a week is the goal.
Okay. What's your target audience? What are you trying to achieve with the channel? And maybe what inspired you to want to make a channel like this?
Great question. There's a few things. I've wanted to make a channel for a number of years. We had a channel with Anchor Point Films that we never consistently put things out, and we never really, that wasn't our main intent to do that. But then COVID hit, and I'd wanted to do it. And then the traveling that we had been doing full time, almost nonstop, not completely nonstop, but for instance, we built our home in the country. We bought some land 3 years ago. We went through the process of felling trees and then started building. And then finally the house got built last fall for us. And then COVID hit, and, basically things began to shut down in here maybe March, right around March. And so we were stuck home, weren't able to travel. And we had been so used to traveling, speaking, and doing the video work that just sitting around really wasn't much of an option for me. I had to be doing something to connect with people. And so YouTube obviously was a great option because number one, you can just post things there for free. You can connect with lots of people. It's the second largest search engine in the world. And so there's a number of options that you could use, but hitting something with such a massive humanity on it just seemed like a great option. And why we did homesteading and health, we speak basically the reason we got into health was we were making a documentary on archaeology. It's called Ancient Health, which was a mixture of archaeology, history, and cultures of longevity. And during the process of recording that film, my life was totally changed. I had some health issues, seemingly some gallbladder issues. My grandfather died of a gallbladder surgery, and I had been having some. It kind of seems to run in the family. But through dietary changes, my life was changed on so many different levels, migraines and things that went away. And then after my life change, I felt so much better. I wanted to share some of these things. And then also I had had depression for 10 years, and the lifestyle change got rid of the depression. And after going through all this, I began to look into the research because I love science. And so I began to study out why did what I did, why did it change? And so once we studied into that, then we began to share things with other people. And then the thought was, since we're living in the country, we live next to a national forest. We're kind of in a secluded little spot here. I love homesteading. I love raising food. I love gardening and just the whole bit. So we decided, well, health and homestead are two things. Homesteading are things that I'm interested in. And so let's just kind of take a go at it and see what happens.
Awesome. So I know that on YouTube, for example, there's Brendan Kane's book, A Million Followers, and this goes into a little bit about the YouTube algorithm, the specific things that you want to try and tweak or hit to make sure that your content resonates on YouTube. Is that something you've looked into a lot, or are you just making things that you want to make and putting it out there and hoping it lands?
So I haven't read any books, but I have watched some people on YouTube who specifically talk about what to do. And that is very helpful, watching some of these content creators who just tell people, hey, this is how you do it. This is how you get your channel to take off. And it's been very beneficial to listen to some of these people. So I haven't read any books on it yet, but I do make an effort to do a number of the things that people have suggested. And I totally, if you just simply post a video to YouTube and hope that it takes off, I mean, unless it's just unbelievably good, it's not likely that your first few videos just take off if you don't do some, implement some method to connect people to them. So whether that's other forms of social media, directing people to your YouTube, or somehow finding some method of attracting others, because the algorithm in YouTube actually likes outside sources coming in. So that is one aspect. I mean, that's only one aspect, and then also finding content or picking specific things that people are interested in is also important, because you pick some, I've picked some topics that totally fall flat, and then other ones take off much better. And so you begin, but making a lot of material helps you to do that. So the more you make, you can look on the back end of your YouTube channel, and you could say, hey, this is working, this is hitting people are interested in this one didn't work at all. And so then you can either tailor it more toward the videos that are interesting, or maybe change what you did in a video that didn't take off so well and kind of learn from maybe the mistakes.
Yeah. Now, do you script out every episode before you film it, or are you just picking a topic and a few dot points and just speaking to it?
Yeah, I'm not a full-on script kind of person. Some of the videos, if somebody watches them, they'll see some of them have actual slides, because I'm talking about scientific studies and I'm referencing the slides. I'm talking exactly about how many people were in the study, what were the results, and what was the control group like, and basically breaking those things down. So in some of those where it's very technical and specific, I don't want to just make random points. So then I actually make a slide where the points are literally there. But on most of the videos, I beforehand think, okay, here's some of the key points that I want to talk about. Like one, I was just on a walk on our property just before this interview. And I was thinking, okay, 4 reasons that people suffer more with depression in the winter. and just, thinking of those 4 things. And then I already have the research compiled, but I didn't have them as those 4 things. I knew these different points, but I thought, okay, then I'll go gather the actual 4 points so I can actually source the material and then put it out like that. But when it comes to a lot of the videos, I'll say, like I just did one, 9 things that you don't want on your country property, or 9 things to avoid when you move to the country, something like that. And I basically had thought through 9 of the things, and then I have a little idea of what I'm going to say, and then I just kind of, just record it. And sometimes as you're recording, you think, man, that point didn't go very well. Just record it again. And actually, the more I would record it, actually, the better it would typically get. But normally I don't do it much more than 2 times. I just kind of give it a go and shoot from there. And I know it can get better, but you grow as you go.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Do you guys run ads on your videos? Have you monetized your channel like that?
We have not monetized their channel. So you may know, and somebody listening may not know, that you need 1,000 subscribers in order to monetize on YouTube at presently, and you need 4,000 watch hours. And we have over 1,000, maybe within a couple months or just over, we hit 1,000 subscribers, but then we haven't hit the 4,000. We're right around 3,000 watch hours at this point. So probably by the end of December, we should be right about at the 4,000 watch hours. I may monetize it if I can figure out a way to avoid certain commercials that I don't want, like a bunch of immorality playing in connection with the videos. So and there are certain ways that you can actually filter out commercials. If I can do that, and I can do it with a way that I feel like I can conscientiously do it. Some other person may not care about that, but I would want to do it in a way that I feel conscientious, that I feel good in my conscience about what is being put out there. Then I would be fine with it. The reality is, I think about it like this. There's all kinds of stuff put on YouTube. YouTube is not a public service. YouTube runs because all the content creators out there, whether just common people or stars or whatever, they're running off the finances that they're making off all of this. But so anybody that puts anything on YouTube is benefiting from the whole system. But at the same time, I don't want to go too deep into this, but I just want to make sure that I have, wouldn't want some seriously wrong things being published, and I don't want to make money off that. So I'll look a little bit more into it when we actually get to that point.
Yeah, chatting with Greg from Bible Flockbox, I'm pretty sure he turns off anything gambling or alcohol related. I'm pretty sure that's very doable.
Gotcha. And that's kind of the thing that I would like to do. I haven't looked, because I'm not there yet. I looked into it just a tiny bit today, and I would like to look into it more, but I think there's a way that I would probably, we just live in a world where, we own computers, and computers are not made always by moral companies, but it's just the world we live in. And so, yeah, time will tell with that.
For sure. Do you have any other plans for other streams of monetization based on this content?
So one of the things that I do, and I just started doing it. So for the first some videos, I did not even reference our website or anything like that. And I haven't actually started a Health and Homestead website. I did purchase the URL healthandhomestead.com, but I haven't actually made that website. I do have our website, anchorpointfilms.com, and I just started putting that. I decided I didn't want to do anything even marketing wise, but then I finally decided, no, I'll do it a bit. And so I did start just putting in, Chad Kreuzer, anchorpointfilms.com as I would speak on the video. And so in that's a form of monetization where I am seeing a difference within days and of sales with DVDs and so forth. So even that simple change has made a difference. Before that, I was not writing our website or anything. I was just, you wouldn't really know anything more about me other than if you kind of started surfing the web. I just wanted to see what would happen, just letting it go, just recording.
Sure. So knowing that this channel's fairly young, has there been any feedback or any testimonies coming back in from people that are enjoying the content, or is the content making any difference?
Yeah, we have had, quite often, probably multiple people even today responding, saying they're very thankful for it and asking questions about their health. And I'm not a health professional, but I love science, love studying science, and I share both research, and I don't tell people what to do with their health, but I do simply source scientific studies. And so that is one thing that, just certain things. I mean, I had a guy writing me today. He said, I have chest pains. And I said, hey man, you got chest pains, you better, contact your doctor about that one. That's a serious thing. I mean, if you got a heart attack or whatever. And, but simple things, both people saying, hey, I appreciate that you mix some spiritual things in with the natural health or homesteading, more the homesteading side. And not all of my videos are overtly religious. Most of them I'll say at the end something like God bless. And some of them are clearly religious. I shared about death. I had a death, my grandfather died, and I did a couple videos on dealing with death and looking at the Bible and, comfort in scripture there. So it's not all overtly religious. Some of it is more just simple things about how to grow carrots and how to raise potatoes and simple things like that, and how to grow your own food. But then other clips have mixed in some scripture, or if there's a biblical subject that's germane to whatever I'm talking about, I try to bring those kind of things. But yes, people have responded positively to that. I haven't had anybody really speaking negatively to the fact that we have the religious aspect out there. And to me, that's who I am. And I know YouTube becomes a place where your main subscribers and the people who follow you are the ones who see eye to eye kind of with your perspective or whatever. And so those who are not as interested may just kind of avoid you at times, and then others may be more prone to connecting with you because of your whatever niche that you are sharing.
What do you think the end goal is for your audience? Are you trying to take them from somewhere to somewhere else? Do you have another plan for them?
Great question. In some ways, absolutely. I think everybody has something that they're looking to do. Number one, I do want to draw people closer to God, to point them to God. I mean, I can't do that. I mean, God does that, but we are called to be a light on a hill and to be a witness, not to cover our light. And so I do hope that people will come to Christ. They will give their life to him. And we have other material about that maybe goes into more detail in anchorpointfilms.com. And so I've noticed, just as much as we've been putting up anchorpointfilms.com, people buying our DVDs that are fully biblical, that's been going up almost immediately. And so having that for people, where we're, for instance, our Scripture Mystery series is a series that we produced in the past, and it's 7 documentary films, but it kind of begins with the basis of, can the Bible be trusted? And then it goes on to, who was Jesus? And, was he who he claimed to be? Was he the Christ, the Savior of the world? And so looking into a bit of history and archaeology, more history and prophecy, I should say, in that one. But having those tools that people can reference or connect with because of these things, I think the Apostle Paul had a job making tents. And so right now I'm spending a lot of time growing food, and because I can't really travel I'm probably 90% of our travel has shut down, maybe more. And this gives me something to do to raise food and, eat the things that and also potentially be able to make a living off of the internet at the same time.
Is there anything that this audience can do to support your project? If a couple thousand people end up watching this video, what would you like them to do to help support your ministry?
Well, presently, just checking out you could either check out our YouTube channel if it's something that interests you. Subscribing there is great. And secondarily, if you have any interest, you can check out our website, anchorpointfilms.com. And if any of the materials interest you, they can either be purchased for download or the actual DVDs for those of you who still want to use the old DVD player.
Awesome. And maybe any final advice or closing advice to anybody who's interested in making films or starting their own YouTube channel? Yeah.
Number one, I can see that it is still very possible. And one of the things about this is that I wanted to see how long it would take to, if at least even with the possibility of monetization, how long does that take without putting any money into it? Now that's kind of vague because I already had video equipment, so I'm not starting this thing with nothing. You can potentially start a YouTube channel and have it actually take off within relatively short order. That it is possible if one of the key things is that you're doing it consistently. And consistent doesn't mean necessarily 5 times a week. 5 times a week makes it go much faster, but simply doing it consistently. Like if you can do one a week, doing one a week is important. I noticed that my channel was growing. And then I had a week where I was speaking 29 times at school. And so I just couldn't make a video every day. So I think I only got 2 videos that day. And the channel really took a tank after that. And it's still coming back up. Now we're probably just starting to almost catch up to where we were before that. So I can say, if you're interested in doing it, consistency is super important. Even if it were just to be once a week, that consistency is important. If you can only get out once a week, do it. Hey, if you can only get out once a month, some people become successful with just 1 a month. But whatever it is, consistency is important. And obviously picking subjects that people are interested in. Because of COVID, one of the reasons I started this that I forgot to say is that at least in the United States, tons of people were leaving cities and moving to the country, whether it was New York City, people leaving the state of California. People are moving from large population centers, at least in our country, in the United States. And so this is something that people are interested in right at the moment because of the shutdowns, the lockdowns, and these kinds of things. And so doing things that hit a sect of society, a niche of society, something that people are interested in, is a necessity. Because if you just pick a subject that's nobody's interested in but yourself, some people will be interested, but very few. So you can do it, but you've got to pick something that hits people. But I would say, especially if you're coming from a spiritual background like this, mixing in the spiritual, you can really reach a lot of people. And you say, hey, maybe I'll offend somebody or they won't want to be there, but probably you're not going to lose so many people. You'll probably actually gain people who are interested, open. Maybe they're not religious. Maybe they're not spiritual yet. But by you having that impact, it could be a part of changing their life and pointing them toward Christ.
Awesome. Chad, I want to thank you for what you do. And yeah, it's exciting to see a channel on health and country living, and I'll have to find myself a homestead. We don't sell homesteads in Australia. We've usually just got large acreages, but I'm looking forward to being on one day. So I'll continue training in the meantime. Thanks for your time, Chad.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, we'll talk soon.
All right.